Welcome to the little wood shop again. So for this week, you've got a bunch of small jobs to do. I've got a few glue ups to do for 3 different projects. I have a bunch of Marenti to plane for Rob, the guy with the domino, my friend. And then I've got a little coffee table to restore. You're going to enjoy the coffee table. It's an absolutely amazingly beautiful coffee table. I really love it and I wish it was mine. So you'll enjoy that. So guys, please share, like and subscribe. If I look on my analytics, I see that there's only something like 7% of the people watching the videos that actually subscribe. So please, guys, press that button, subscribe, share the video. Let's make this a great channel. Let's start this week. So I'm trying to get rid of a bunch of small jobs. And this is one of them. I don't know if you can see this. It's got lots of cracking in the finish. And the customer just wants me to refinish the top. It's got very nice details. And I'll show you the leg a little bit later. That's absolutely amazing. It's beautiful legs. It's one of the nicest coffee tables I've seen so far. So I really want to try and get this top to its best. So I'm going to just sand it and see how far I get. I hope it's not a veneer that's on here. I don't know if you can see that. There's actually there, and there's another chip as well. And I hope it's just the lacquer or whatever that chipped off and not veneer. So I'm going to sand very lightly now quickly and see if I can get through this little cracks and get this smooth. So guys, I'm sanding with ultra fine wash pads, which is this little sponge pads. And I hope you can see this. You can definitely see that. It's actually getting worse and worse. So this, whatever this is, I hope it's just a lacquer layer or varnish layer that's coming off. So I think what I'll have to do is I'll have to sand right through it and see if I can get to whatever fresh wood that down there is. I don't know if this can focus so nicely, but if I follow the dark lines, it actually goes through the little marks there. So I think it is original wood underneath. I'm gonna take a chance. Take the orbital sander with a bit rougher sandpaper, and I'll have to go through it. So guys, I think I was lucky. There you can see the dark line that I was talking about. And it takes quite a bit of sanding. I've taken 180 grit sandpaper on the little orbital sander now. And as you can see, it's quite a thick finish layer that's on here. So I think it was a lacquer or something they put on here. I don't know what wood is it. If any one of you know, please let me know. It's a very funny and strange wood. It's a beautiful wood. We'll see once we put a varnish on. But I love the grain. It's not something I've worked with before. So guys, I don't know if you can see that. All around the edges here, we also have a lot of chip marks. So I started sanding here on the edge. And I think I'll have to sand that clear all the way around to get rid of all those little ugly chip marks everywhere. While we're doing it, let's do it properly. And then just to show you, I got all the varnish off the top. I would love to know what wood this is. Anybody's got an idea, please let me know. So guys, the little top is almost finished. I went and got myself a few Dremel accessories, and in this case a little nylon brush, just to clean up all the crud and stuff that's in between these fine little corners here. And I got the nylon brush because it's not too abrasive. I don't want to remove the varnish. I just want to clean the corners and make the corners nice and sharp again. So I'll give you a close-up and show you what this looks like now at the moment. And let's see if this is going to clean that up and get it nice and sharp again. Guys, that's what it looks like at the moment. And I would really like to get that away or clean and sharp again before I start putting varnishes and finishes on this. So let's see if I can get that clean. So guys, that worked better than I thought it would. And I must say, this little nylon brush, I bought a few thinking that this won't last long. And it did very well. And it took out all the old varnish and polish and whatever's in the corners and gave it a little bit of a polish. So now the thing I want to do now is I want to take the top, and as well as this ring that I had to sand that had a lot of dings in it, I want to take it to just one stage darker to match that before I start putting varnish on top of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take an Emboya stain, alcohol based, and then just stain that and the top. Just a coat to see if I can take it one stage darker, and then I'll see and I'll assess it, and then we'll start varnishing. So the stain I'm going to use is the Nova Emboya. It's an alcohol-based stain. And I'm just going to take a small rag, add a little bit to that, and then start on the little border to see if I can just take it one stage darker so that it doesn't contrast too much to the inside. Because that I don't dare touching, because once I start sanding there, I'm definitely going to ruin it. And that we do not want to do. So I think that's going to work. Let's get it stained. And then also the top, I'm just going to add one shade darker. I love the book match here. I don't know if you can see the book match. It's very nice, and I don't want to hide that. So I'm just going to take it one darker and then start polishing and varnishing. So guys, that's now one coat of the stain on, and I'm happy with that. I'm going to leave it for half an hour or so to dry, and then we'll start polishing, or actually varnishing. I'm going to do it with Nova polyurethane varnish, but we don't have wipe on poly, or I don't have wipe on poly, and but I'm going to use the normal polyurethane varnish that I've got as a wipe on poly, and I'll show you in a few minutes how I do that. So guys, the way I do a polyurethane or wipe on polyurethane with something that's not wipe on polyurethane, my way of doing it, and it seems to work because I've done this just as a sample to see if it will work. This is Kiat with the same wipe on poly. And what I do is I fold myself a little pillow like this. And no fluff or loose pieces on it. And I basically just dip it in the poly, get rid of the worst, and then I start wiping. And by doing that, you're putting very thin layers on the surface, and it dries actually very, very fast if you do this. So you can in a span of a day put 6 or 7 coats on here, and that's probably what I'm going to do on this. This is going to take quite a few coats because it's a very open grain wood, and I would like to fill the grain as much as possible. So I'm going to continue with this, and also then with a little border around. And I'll show you in a few hours, for you a few minutes, for me a few hours. I'll show you what this is going to look like. So guys, in between coats, while waiting for that to dry, I'm going to start cleaning up the leg as well. As you can see, it's one of the most beautiful legs that I've seen on a coffee table. It's carved very nicely. And it makes me think of something that I've seen. Me and my wife was in Bali a few years ago. And the people there they artists when it comes to carving. And if I look at the type of wood they carved this from, it's a very soft wood, and it's a very light wood as well. So I think that just makes carving easier. But the detail on this is amazing. And I'm just going to clean this up quickly and then give it a coat or two of the polyurethane, the same that I've done with the top. So to clean this, I don't want to sand it because I don't want to lose any detail anyway. And there's very nice little color differences that I like the lighter colors everywhere and then the darker colors. So I don't want to lose the contrast there. So no sanding. I'm just going to clean this once again with a nylon brush. Make sure I get all the dust and old polish and stuff off of it. And then we'll give it a varnish. So guys, what I'm doing now is I've turned it upside down, and I'm just going to varnish all the bottoms so I can get that done. And the way I'm doing this, I'm using a brush in this case because there's so many details that the rag just wouldn't work. But I use very, very little varnish. So I'm basically dry brushing. I put very little on, take most off, and then start varnishing. Because the reason for this is we don't want any runs on this. And then on all the little corners, it usually packs up a little bit. So you must make sure with a dry brush afterwards, just clear all the corners and keep the little corners sharp. If you understand what I mean, I'll try to demonstrate that. If you put a lot of varnish on, the varnish will actually go lie in the corners. So if you have a little bit of a dry brush, you can then go clear it. And one thing about polyurethane is it actually self-levels quite nicely. And as you can see, I don't use much varnish. I just dry brush or use a very dry brush. By doing that, you'll definitely have to put more coats on. And so it's a little bit more labor intensive, but in the end, it's worth it. Let me get this done, and I'll show you in a few minutes. So guys, that's now the little coffee table almost done. I'm still going to leave the top for a day now to dry properly. Then I will give it a flat and another coat of polyurethane. So as you can see there, the grain is not filled yet. So I think there's another 3 or 4 coats of polyurethane needed to fill that grain. But the rest of it came out very nicely, and I'm done with that. So just the top tomorrow and the day after maybe. And this is another project done. So guys, this was a busy week. We had a bunch of small jobs. I glued up a board for a clock that we're making for a teacher that's retiring, that we're going to send off to CNC. And then we'll put the clock and the hour works and everything in there. I'll show you as we go. The other board I glued up is for a wedding, where we're going to put the couple's name and the dates and some leaves and whatever's on it, fill it with resin, finish it off, and that's going to go for a wedding. There's another board that I made for a customer that his wife put his fondue board. It's just a little round board, 400 millimeters with holes in it, and then a big hole in the middle. His wife put that in the dishwasher and it went belly up because it was MDF. So it all swollen and got ugly. So I made a new one out of oak that I have had some offcuts on. And it's off to CNC. So hopefully that will be back next week or the week after. And then we can finish that for a customer. We also finished the little coffee table. I still got some work to do on the top, but I think this came out amazing. So guys, please remember, subscribe, share this video. Most of all, stay safe, stay healthy, make some dust.